Good morning, church. So today is Tuesday, May 13th. I've got our Schwenkfelder Ministerial meeting coming up in a little bit. So just wanted to get in a bit of a devotional on Psalm 68. This is a long psalm, so we're going to be doing it in several parts. I'm thinking maybe even four at this point, but we'll be giving you a few portions as we go through. Today, we're going to focus on the first 10 verses from the NRSV, and it matches up fairly well, so I think that'll work. So here we go. Psalm 68, to the leader of David, a psalm, a song. Let God rise up, let his enemies be scattered, let those who hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melts before the fire, let the wicked perish before God. But let the righteous be joyful. Let them exult before God. Let them be jubilant with joy. Sing to God, sing praises to his name. Lift up a song to him who rides upon the clouds. His name is the Lord. Be exultant before him. Father of orphans and protector of widows is God in his holy habitation. God gives the desolate a home to live in. He leads out the prisoners to prosperity, but the rebellious live in a parched land. O God, when you went out before your people, when you marched through the wilderness, Selah. The earth quaked, the heavens poured down at the presence of God, the God of Sinai, at the presence of God, the God of Israel. Rain in abundance, O God, you showered abroad. You restored your heritage when it languished. Your flock found a dwelling in it. In your goodness, O God, you provided for the needy. This past Sunday, we were doing Good Shepherd Sunday, so focusing on Psalm 23. We talked about the significance of Psalm 23 in making that image of the Lord is my shepherd as a personal possessive pronoun or whatever that thing is, versus just referring to the flock, which we hear to God leading the flock in that one. So good little segment. Also, it's raining pretty good while I'm recording this, so that's a good connection too. Little bit from May's introduction, which he entitles "The Victory of God." Let God arise. Psalm 68 begins with this invocation of God as the divine warrior whose victory established his reign in the world and whose strength is the salvation of his people. The victory and reign of the divine warrior are its underlying theme. Though its theme is certain, the analysis and the interpretation are particularly difficult. It has an unusual density of uncertain text, rare words, elusive language, and shifting styles, and hence we're doing it over several daily devotionals. Remarks on the problems the psalm poses for translators and exegetes, and that means people who are interpreting the translation and trying to draw meaning out of it for the modern reader, for us, appear like a litany in their work. A large part of the psalm seems to belong to the earliest poetry in the Psalter. Its present form may be the result of a process of compilation and expansion. The power and effect of the song are nevertheless compelling. Whatever its uncertainties, to read it or to hear it read is to experience something of the awesome, wonderful majesty of the warrior God who saves his people and brings in his kingdom. In his literary analysis, James Mays frames out for us the section we will be looking at, which he entitles as Introduction, including the opening invocation, the identity of God from verses 4 to 6, and then the original theophany, the talking about who God is and who God has revealed to be in verse 7 to 10. Now we'll keep going with that a little bit for tomorrow's. And here's Peterson, Psalm 68, a David psalm. Up with God, down with his enemies. Adversaries run for the hills. Gone like a puff of smoke, like a blob of wax in the fire. One look at God and the wicked vanish. When the righteous see God in action, they'll laugh, they'll sing, they'll laugh and sing for joy. Sing hymns to God, all heaven, sing out. Clear the way for the coming of Cloud Rider. Enjoy God, cheer when you see him. Father of orphans, champion of widows is God in his holy house. God makes homes for the homeless, leads prisoners to freedom, but leaves rebels to rot in hell. God, when you look to lead with your people, when you God, when you took the lead with your people, when you marched out into the wild, earth shook, sky broke out in a sweat, God was on the march. Even Sinai trembled at the sight of God on the move, at the sight of Israel's God. You pour out rain and buckets, O God, thorn and cactus become an oasis for your people to camp in and enjoy. You set them up in business. They went from rags to riches. I didn't note it when I was doing the NRSV, but we have talked in previous sessions about the word Selah, which, depending on the translation you're using, like the NRSV, will sometimes appear. And there's a couple of possibilities for the context for that word. It's very likely to pause and reflect and to think. Where it hits in Psalm 68 in that first portion is right after drawing Israel to remember God's leadership in their time of wilderness, which sets up the next frames that come. Just an interesting little aspect of Psalms that we don't always get into, that it's really calling us both into remembrance and meditation, but even more the power and the sense of strength that comes from that as we reflect on how God has acted in the past and how God promises to continue to act. Have a wonderful day. We'll check you guys tomorrow as we continue in Psalm 98. See ya.